Okay, guys, I'm back. Apparently, Skynet didn't like what I had to say so far. It took over my computer and I had to shut down. I don't know what happened. Everything froze up and then kaput. So I am back. This is my Terminator Genisys review. Hopefully, I can get through this without something stupid happening. But I am here. I'm sorry. I know I only had like 4 viewers, but sorry guys. This will be part 2. If you're just tuning in, my computer crashed in the middle of my review. So back to the review. I'm just going to get back into it. Damn you, Skynet. Damn you! Talking about the movie, I thought the girl, which is Sarah, the girl that played Sarah Connor, I can't remember her real name. Something off. I have no idea. But she's Daenerys Targaryen. She plays Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones. I've never watched Game of Thrones. I have no idea what it's about. I don't even know who the hell Daenerys Targaryen is. I think Stu Murray told me who she was, and I was like, oh, okay, great. She talks to dragons or something. I have no idea. Anyway, she did a really good job as Sarah Connor. Obviously, this is like a different version of Sarah Connor, but I thought she did a really good job. I was like, holy shit. That's Sarah Connor. Good job. Whoever cast her, they knew what the hell they were talking about, or they knew what they were doing. Obviously, Arnold's in this, and there's different versions of Arnold. There's what is there? There's old Arnold. Okay, then there's really old Arnold, like Arnold right now, Arnold T800. Then there's older, late 40s, 50s Arnold, because Arnold right now, I think he's almost 70, something like that. I know he's really old. I think he's late 60s or something. But then there's 50s Arnold T800, and then there's before that, there's Terminator 1 Arnold. And let me just tell you, one of the best CGI faces I've ever seen in a movie was the beginning when that T800 Terminator, Arnold Terminator, the evil one, gets sent back in time. And man, they get close up on his face and it moves around. And it really looks like 1984 Arnold. It's crazy. They did a really good job with the CGI in this movie. I think maybe the school bus scene was a little bit off with the CGI, but it's a little forgivable, though. I could forgive that. It's okay. For the most part, all the CGI was pretty good. Maybe the helicopter scene was a little off, too. Maybe not so much the school bus, but maybe the helicopter scene was a little weird. It was like a helicopter chase, towards the end. And it just didn't look right because they're doing weird dump angles, going down. Helicopters, you can't do that with a helicopter. You can't just dump down and then just go straight. You can't do that. It just doesn't work. You'll crash. So, what else? What else was in there? I thought the John Connor casting was pretty good. He played a decent John Connor, and he had the scars on his face. And what is it? The previous, I think it's Terminator. Oh boy, it's the first one. I think it's the first Terminator where they get close up on John Connor. He's got this huge scar going down past his eye and stuff. So I mean, John Connor's kind of the different I can't talk. The different incarnations of John Connor's kind of always had a scar on his face or scars on him. From battling this war full of Terminators and Skynet. And the other difference in this movie, which was pretty cool, was the fact that Skynet actually is in physical form. All the other movies, they just talk about Skynet, and he's never you never actually see him. I know he's more than just a being. Skynet is pretty much everything. He controls everything. It's like a membrane that just controls everything. But you actually got to see him in physical form in the movie, which is pretty cool for the first time. There was no new one-liners in this movie. I feel like that was like kind of like a missed thing. It was, I guess, the only one line. There wasn't really a one-liner. I guess the famous quotes in this movie would be like, I'm old, I'm not obsolete. That was like the big, like, you know, it doesn't stand up to hasta la vista, baby, or, you know, come with me if you want to live. It doesn't stand up to those, but I guess that was this movie's version of that new catchphrase. So I thought that was okay. Like I said, the CGI was pretty top notch, except for that helicopter scene, I would say. Maybe the bus. Maybe that bus was a little weird, the way it flipped. I don't know. It didn't look natural. But I thought Arnold did a really good job. He smiles in this movie, and it's really creepy. It's super creepy. When he smiles in this movie, it just doesn't look natural. Because, I mean, how many times in movies do you see Arnold smile, really? Not that many. Maybe Jingle All the Way. I don't know. But it's awkward when he smiles, so it worked that he's a robot. It was pretty sweet. In this movie, there was actually some emotion shown from a Terminator. And it's funny that Sarah actually gives him a nickname of Pops. She calls him Pops throughout the whole movie. I thought that was cute. But let me not sidetrack, because I'm just kind of throwing things out there as they pop in my head. That's the way I work. Let me go to the beginning. Now, the basis of the story is you start in the future. You're basically following Kyle Reese as a kid, and he's talking about, I wasn't born into a regular world like everyone else. I was born into this world of war. So basically, he was born into after Judgment Day. He was born into this new world of war, basically, between man and machine. And you're following him, and it seems like he's running from something, and he gets to this gate, and he sees these bright eyes, and he's like, he's kind of taken back for a second, and there's like these bars separating him. And then a dog comes out, and he's like, oh my God. He's like, oh, he's petting it, and the dog's friendly, which I don't know. If I didn't know a dog, I'm not just going to go running up to it and petting it, especially if it's like an apocalyptic world where machines are trying to kill everything, and you know the dog's probably on edge and doesn't know what's what, seeing as Terminators look like humans. So I don't know if I'd just be running up to a strange dog and petting it unless I knew it. But he pets the dog, and then all of a sudden he turns around, he hears a voice, and he says, I think it said, "Are you alone?" or "Are there more of them?" or "Where are you?" Yeah, I think it said, "Are you alone? Where are the rest?" or something. He said something like that. It was so brief I couldn't like catch it. And he turns around, and there's something walking towards him, and he's like scared. He's like, and then all of a sudden he gets this thing gets eviscerated, and you just see John Connor go down. Oh, what the hell's this now? Okay, all right, just screw off. Had to pop up. And then you just see John Connor eviscerate this thing and kind of drop from the ceiling and put his hand out, and Kyle grabs it, and then I guess John kind of raises Kyle. It's a very strange thing. So basically, John has raised Kyle, which is very strange if you ask me. It's reverse roles, and because basically, John knows that he's got to save Kyle, which is pretty similar to what the whole plot was for Terminator Salvation. They kind of grow up together, and it's kind of like a bonding thing, because Kyle, he never explains to Kyle that he's that's his father. Like, you're my dad, but he never tells him that. So for obvious reasons, it could be, detrimental to the future or the past or whatever. So he doesn't say anything to him. They grow up as like best friends, buddies, whatever. And finally they get to Skynet, and they eviscerate Skynet. Like, John Connor has this huge army, and they go into Skynet's hub, if you want to call it that, or main base, and eviscerate Skynet. But before Skynet's eviscerated, he sends back a T-800 that looks like Arnold. And he sends him back to 1984. We all know this story. He sends him back to 1984 to kill Sarah Connor. Basically, after that, they're like, we have to send someone. What's going on? We don't know what to do. All these dudes are out volunteering. I'll go back. Your mom was hot. Your mom was total hot. I want to go back. All these guys. And then Kyle stands up and he's like, I want to go back. And then he like pulls a picture out of Sarah that John gave him. And he's like, I want to go back. And John's like, why should I let you go back? And he goes, I don't know. I can't remember what he said exactly. He was something like, because you know how much I care about your mother. So he sends him back, and John knows that my daddy, I gotta send him back. And while he's sending him back, while he's actually in the time, I'll just call it doing the time warp. No, but while he's in like this time warp, we'll go there. He can still see things that are like outside the warp of the time warp thing, the time portal. I'll just say he sees this. He sees this other thing grab John and like kill everyone else, and he's like, "No, Dad or son that I don't know is my son yet." And he's like, "No, John," and he tries to reach out, and then he's boom, he's back in 1984. Back in 1984, he basically starts off from square one with Terminator 1. He sees the bomb, or he lands. Actually, they show the Terminator first, excuse me. And that's when they show this beautiful CGI character of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it is supposed to be 1984 Arnold from the original. And it was pretty good. It was pretty well done. They had the part in the hair, because in Terminator 2, he had kind of like the buzzed kind of crew cut thing going on. So in this one, he was the 1984 one with the, kind of like the part and the comb over a little bit. Or the part in his hair. I think he just had a part in his hair. I can't remember. But it was 1984 Arnold, and they show him. Beautiful CGI character. Then they cut to Kyle Reese. He lands right in a alleyway, pretty similar to the original, and he steals a bum's pants. A cop shows up, and it's the fucking T-1000. And you're like, what the fuck? The trunk and truck? And so they start. They're kind of fighting with each other. The T-1000's like, I'm pretty sure the T-1000 would have killed him if this were reality. But he gets away from the T-1000. T-1000 chases him into like a department store, and that's where kind of like the nudge goes to the first one. They're like, hey, check this out. We didn't have T-1000 yet because we didn't think about it yet because we didn't invent it yet. But if it was in the first movie, this would happen. This is basically what they're telling you. If we thought about T-1000, he would have been in the first one. That's basically what they're saying. He chased him into a department store. Kyle Reese, he's already got pants on. He's got no shoes, no shirt, no hat, no nothing, or no jacket. So he doesn't wear a hat. What's wrong with me? Anyway, he grabs his long trench coat. He grabs his gray shirt, and he puts on his Nikes. And he's like crawling around the whole time. He's like crawling around, moving around. And He actually goes into a dressing room and changes, and he's putting on the Nikes, and he's it's kind of like the these are the same Nikes that I wore in the first one. So there's a little nod there. I thought that was cute. And then the T-1000, while he's changing, they show the Nike, and then all of a sudden you see the blades go through, and Kyle runs away. He gets away. I can't remember what happened next. I can't remember every single detail. I don't know. There's a lot going on in this movie too. And then he bumps into a cop. That's right. He's running away. He bumps into a cop, like labels this cop, like total linebacker, just labels this cop, knocks him on his ass. And then there's another cop that knocks him down, and then he cuffs him. And the cops are like, blah, blah, blah. T-1000 comes up behind the one cop that he bumped into and just fucking eviscerates him, kills him. And then the other cop and Kyle start running, and they're hiding, and the T-1000's shooting at them with a gun. It would have been nice if they would have got the original T-1000. I can't remember his name, that actor's name either. It would have been cool, like if you have Arnold in this movie and you're gonna have a T-1000, why not just get the original actor? I know he's older, but if you can do a CGI Arnold, why not do a CGI that dude? I can't remember his name. What the hell's wrong with me? Anyway, if you could get both of them, it would have made more sense to me. Anyway, I digress. So T-1000 shooting at them in the department store, and the cop's like, "What the hell? What the hell is that thing?" And Kyle's like, "It's a Terminator." Blah blah blah, trying to explain to him in the fastest way possible. And he's like, "Give me the handcuffs." And like the cop uncuffs him, and he's like, "No, you're under arrest first." And he's like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Okay, here's the handcuffs, handcuff key." And he uncuffs him, and they bolt. I think. Oh no, they don't bolt. What's wrong with me? All of a sudden, Sarah Connor comes flying in this friggin' like SWAT van, and she's kind of corny. Goes, "Come with me if you want to live." You could have done without that. Just don't do that. Sorry, that didn't work. I didn't like that. So she's like, "Come with me if you want to live," and then they get in the van, they leave, and T-1000's chasing them, and he couldn't catch him, so he like throws. I've never seen this done before. He throws a portion, like a piece of liquid at him from his body, and it sticks to the back of the truck, kind of like a tracking device, which I thought was pretty clever because they didn't use that. They didn't use that in the original Terminator 2. So I thought that was a clever move. And so now they're in the back of this. Or Kyle's in the back of the truck, and he sees Arnold, and he starts flipping out. And like, this is coming from a character that in the first one, it was like pretty much he had all his shit together. He had to explain to Sarah what's going on. Like, he had to find Sarah, which is super probably hard for the guy to do, in a world that he knows nothing about because he was born into a world full of war. So he doesn't even know what a waitress is. He doesn't know what the fucking taxes are. He doesn't, he knows the basics, survival, basically. He comes from the first one, from knowing everything, into this movie where he knows so much. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's kind of like the what the fuck's going on dude throughout the whole movie, which I thought was a kind of cool thing that they did. They kind of 180'd his character, where he went from having to explain everything to Sarah to Sarah having to explain everything to him of what's going on, because everything has changed now. So Sarah is with Pops, the old Arnold Terminator, and he's like, Kyle's like flipping out. He's like, "Holy shit, there's a fucking Terminator. He's gonna kill you." And he like tries to fight the Terminator in the truck. And then I think he gets knocked out or something, and then he wakes up and starts flipping out again. Yeah, he gets knocked out. He wakes up, starts flipping out, grabs this big assault rifle gun thing, and tries to shoot him. I think it's like a 50 cal Barrett sniper rifle that he's using, and with armor-piercing bullets or something like that. And he's trying to shoot the Terminator, and the Terminator just takes the gun and just cracks him in the face and knocks him out. This poor guy's had like 2 concussions in the span of like 15 minutes. Fucking poor Kyle. There was a scene I didn't even get to before that. I'm so sorry. I think it was before that. Before Kyle. Really cool scene right at the beginning. So before that, I apologize. I completely apologize. So going back now, we're going back in time. What a concept, talking about a Terminator movie going back in time. We're going back to the beginning of the movie. After the Arnold spawns, he goes up to the 1984 Arnold, the evil Arnold we're talking about now. He goes up to the punk rock kids that were featured in the first movie, and he's like, "Give me your clothes." And they're like, "What, man? You want to fuck with me, man?" And then and he's like, "Give me them now." And then all of a sudden, before he has a chance to eviscerate the 3 punk kids, Old Arnold shows up. Pops. I'm just gonna keep calling him Pops because it's awesome. Pop shows up and he's like, "I've been waiting for you." And the other one's like, now he's like pissed. He like looks at the old Arnold and he's like, "Motherfucker, you just took my spotlight, you son of a bitch." So he starts like running at him naked, and nothing flops. Don't worry, nothing flops. So he's running at Pops, and Pops has a shotgun and he's just blasting away, blasting away, blasting away, blasting away, and he's taking chunks out of them. Just definitely getting some damage. And they go through this big brawl, this big fight, and you could tell that the younger T-800 is kind of getting the better of him a little bit, just because he's a little bit younger. And all of a sudden, just boom, right to the chest, right? Done. Sarah shoots him with the Barrett 50 cal sniper rifle, and that's pretty much it. Like after that scene, you're like, "What the fuck's going on? What the fuck? The fuck? Why is Sarah working with the Terminator?" So get to that point, I'm already like, "What the fuck?" Right? And so then we transition to Kyle, and I explained all that, what's going on. So now Kyle's knocked out. He wakes up, and Sarah's trying to explain everything to him. She basically, and I'm fast forwarding through a lot. She basically explains to him. Back, I think it was 1977 or 78 or in the 70s, late 70s. She was at a cottage with her parents, and all of a sudden this T-1000, like a liquid metal pool, popped up and kills her parents, and she's hiding from the T-1000, and then all of a sudden the T-800, a very young Arnold, is walking on a dock, and she's like hiding underneath a dock at a lake house, and she's like sitting there like this, and she's looking at the Terminator, and the Terminator or T-800 Arnold can see her, and he kind of just extends his hand and doesn't say anything. He just kind of picks her up and cradles her, and they walk off into the sunset. And she basically grew up with this Terminator, which is totally the opposite of her original story, which is she hates machines, to now she's grown up with a machine. So now she is invested in this machine. This is like her father, basically. He's raised her. This machine has raised her. So she's not original Sarah Connor at all. This is a totally different. And if you're a DC Comics fan, alternate realities, different versions of people. You know what I'm talking about. So this is a different Sarah Connor entirely, but they didn't take the essence of Sarah Connor out of this movie, which I thought was great. She's still Sarah Connor. She's still a badass, and that's the way she's going to stay, which was great job by them. So she explains that to him, and Kyle's kind of he kind of doesn't trust the Terminator. He's just like, because he's been hunted by them his whole life, so it's warranted. And he's kind of shooting shit at the. He's kind of saying like, I guess they're kind of trading blows back and forth verbally. The Terminator and Kyle, and there's this one scene where they eventually come to blows, or it's just before they leave and go forward in time to 2017, I believe it is. They have this big blowout fight with the T-1000, and they actually have the body of the T-800 that they just destroyed, Pops and Sarah Connor and Kyle. And they're dragging the body in their their secret lair, and and they're dragging the body, and all of a sudden the T-1000 shows up, and you can definitely tell it's kind of cool also that you can tell that you actually get to see how an older version of a Terminator starts, like time really affects it. Like he's not always on target. Like he's like, we have 38 seconds exactly to leave, give or take. or no, the T-1000 shows up then, and he's like, give or take. And it was kind of funny. It's like he's off just a little bit. He's off by like a few seconds because he's an older Terminator now. He's not top notch anymore, you know. Things do depreciate, like cars and machines and metals, and you know. Anyway, so he's like, what was it? The T-1000, while he's chasing them, he actually drops a piece of, and I've never seen this before. He drops another piece of his liquid metal into the Terminator's eye, or like the side of its head, and it fixed the Terminator. So now that the T-800 is awake, and he's chasing Kyle, and Kyle's kind of shooting at him and he's actually kind of running away. He's actually kind of running away from him and crawling. He's like crawls like through this whole movie, I swear to God. And he's crawling away from him, and he gets the Barrett sniper rifle, and he blasts his head off just before it's about to smash his head in. And I thought that was a really cool scene. There's a lot of cool fight scenes in this movie. And what else next? I'm trying to fast forward because I don't want to be talking for the next 2 hours about this. But the T-1000 chases Arnold and Sarah Connor. He kind of beats the crap out of Arnold. I think that's what happened. I'm pretty sure he kicks the crap out of Arnold real quick, and then chases Sarah into this chamber. there she is. Chases Sarah into this chamber, and like a little piece of acid, or a little drop of acid, lands on her jacket, and she takes it off real quick and then sprays herself with I think liquid, some sort of CO2 or something to freeze it right away so it doesn't keep burning her. Anyway, so she's like, come on, baiting the T-1000. He comes in, and she runs and releases this lever, and all this acid drops on the T-1000, and he's melting, and then it basically eviscerates him. He's done. And then they start talking about it after the T-1000 is destroyed, that they have to go forward in time. And Sarah's like, we have to go to 1997 and stop Judgment Day from ever happening. And Kyle's trying to explain to her, while he was in the time warp, he's doing the time warp. While he's in the time warp, he started having these visions of a past that he'd never experienced before. And in this past, because now everything has changed, while he was in this time warp before he landed in 1984, they change, everything has changed. So now he's visualizing all of these new memories of a world that he was never raised in, but he's getting these new memories because everything's changing now, because basically Terminator 1 and 2 don't exist anymore. So now everything has changed. He's got a new upbringing. The Judgment Day hasn't happened yet. It's been pushed back to 2017, and he's trying to explain to Sarah, we can't go to 1997 because that's too soon, which you kind of could. You kind of could go to 97 and just prevent it from ever happening, even a thought of ever happening. But whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all semantics. They want to make it, dramatic for the finish. If it were me, I would have went forward in time to 2016 and destroyed everything. That way you don't have to wait 24 hours to destroy everything. But anyway, it's a movie. It's got to be dramatic. I get it. So he finally explains to her. He does this weird hand thing where he just keep running in a straight line all the way, something. I don't know what's going on with that. That was weird. Another thing that they never explained for a moment, because I didn't explain this about the Sarah Connor and Pops thing, and I mean Pops, I mean Arnold Terminator, the one that saved her. Kyle actually asks her, he says, so who sent that Terminator back to save you? And she goes, I don't know. And then he asked the Terminator, and the Terminator goes, those files were deleted. And then but they never in the whole movie explain who sent them back. Like, they never find out who it is. Like, that would have been nice. I guess they wanted to maybe leave that open for another movie. Maybe they're going to make another movie, but I don't know. Arnold's getting old, man. I don't know how much more of these movies he can make. So they go to 2017, and Arnold's like, they're like, "Are you coming?" And Pops is like, and Pops, by Pops I mean old Arnold. He's like, "No, I can't. It'll destroy me. The time warp will kill me." And she's like, this is like her father figure. She's like, "No, what are you gonna do?" And he's like, "I'll take the long route," which is basically wait 35 years or 30 years or whatever, 32 years. "I'll take the long route." And so they're like, okay, they get naked and they like go into the time flux capacitor warp thingy. I don't know what the hell you want to call it. I don't know. They go into the time portal. I'll just call it that. And they're starting to. I think they start seeing things. No, I can't remember. But anyway, he's supposed to like meet them where they're gonna drop in the future, and he's late. They like drop in the middle of traffic in a highway, and all these like cops show up like that. Because, like, that happens in L.A. Like, cops just show up right away. Anyway. So all these cops show up after they show up, and they're like, there's all these accidents and stuff. And, like, literally, they don't even get a chance to run away. There's just cops everywhere. It's like the cops were waiting for them. So Terminator didn't forget to meet him, but he it's funny later on. They go, "Where were you?" And he's like, "I got caught in traffic." It's kind of funny. So that was funny. They're in a hospital, and then they're being detained and questioned by the police, and they're waiting for Homeland. The local police, PD, is waiting for Homeland Security to question them and everything and figure out who these people are, because Sarah Connor has been off the grid since 1984, and they don't actually have, because this is a different Sarah Connor, she's been off the grid since she was 9, so she doesn't have any credit. No, she's got no credit cards. She's basically just been off the grid since she was 9 years old, since the 70s. So they don't have any information on her. They have information on Kyle Reese only because in 2017 he's just a kid. So they're like, "You're Kyle Reese, but Kyle Reese is like 9 years old, so there's no way you're Kyle Reese. Who are you?" And all of a sudden they leave. Someone's asked the cops to leave. They leave, and then all of a sudden John Connor walks through the door. Old John Connor from the future is in the past now, and Kyle's like, "What are you doing here? Oh my God, my best friend's here. This is amazing. Bromance." And they hug, and big embrace there. And then it's like the shocker of the movie. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? How the hell did he get back? And then Kyle's like, "I saw you, but wait, I saw you get attacked by the Terminator thing. What happened?" He's like, "Oh, don't worry about that. I'm just generalizing. Oh, don't worry about that. I took care of that." And just like, "What? Wait, what? You just killed Terminator by yourself? What the fuck?" And he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about that. We'll talk about that later." And so they all leave, and you just see Pops walking through. You see old Arnold walking through to go meet them with a big bear in his hands, because it was kind of a throwback to Terminator 2 where he had the box of flowers. It was pretty funny. So this one, he's got this like huge teddy bear, and he's walking through the hospital, and everyone's kind of like, "The fuck?" It's like the most out of place thing of all time, and they're just. I thought that was funny. And he's walking through the hospital, and he's got this big bear, and they get to the parking garage, and the Terminator meets up with them and John. Sarah, John, we got Kyle now, and Pops the Terminator. He is meeting them in the parking garage. He still has the teddy bear, and all of a sudden, Terminator just sees John Connor and just fucking blows him away. shoots him dead, cold dead. And John Connor goes flying back, and he's dead. And there's a pile, like a pool of blood around him. And they're like, what the fuck? What the fuck? But before that, let me go back to that. Before that, John actually reveals that he goes, yeah, Dad, like I told you that years ago. And Kyle's like, Dad, what are you talking about? So he basically explains to him that this is his father, and they go through this whole thing. And then he gets shot. John Connor gets shot by Arnold. Arnold shoots him dead. And they're like, it's the point of the movie where you're like, what the fuck is going on? It's like, oh shit. Did Arnold Terminator get corrupted by Skynet somehow? Like waiting this whole time, and then maybe the T-1000 came back for him, or they sent another Terminator back in time to take over him, and now he's there to kill them. Like that movie totally could have went in that direction. And so John is lying dead on the ground, and then they're like, what the fuck? And Kyle's like, you son of a bitch, you killed my son! I just met him! You son of a bitch! I knew him my whole life, but I just met him as my son a second ago. So he's like trying to like beat up the Terminator, and Terminator's just like, they're kind of just like looking at each other, like Sarah's looking at him like, why would you do this? I trusted you. And then all of a sudden it pans to John Connor on the ground. He just kind of like does the reverse matrix, and like his legs start standing up, and then his whole body stands up like this, and he's like, and they're like, what the fuck is going on? And then Arnold just starts blasting away, and he's like, they're like, we have to get out of here. And so they like get in the car, and they're like, holy shit, John Connor's a fucking Terminator. And John actually explains to them, he's like, they're like, how are you a fucking Terminator, you son of a bitch? And he's like, listen, when you left, and I'm generalizing, he didn't actually say this. He goes, basically, when you went to the future, dude, that was basically Skynet that attacked me. So Skynet like attacked his face, and Skynet integrated him as a Terminator on a cellular level. So, I mean, I don't know if he's called like a T-1000 or what the technical term would be for his model number. I think he's just like kind of like an extension of Skynet at this point. But he basically turns him into you have to use like magnets to basically destroy him or to stop him from formulating on a cellular level. Like you have to stop. Like I don't know. It's really weird. Like when they punch him with these later on in the movie with these like brass knuckle magnets, it damages him bad. So they find that huge electromagnetics, or I don't know. I was never really big into chemistry, biology, semantics, stuff like that. But anyway, talking about it affects him in a way where he can't take hits from metal, and like this big what the heck is the name of that? I can't think of it. Anyway, I'll just skip that. Anyway, so they run away. There's this big chase. They're in the school bus. It does like 3 flips in the air. They end up finding out towards the end that there's this big there's actually this big boss battle. Then they find Skynet's new base, which is basically called, like, instead of being called Skynet like it was in the last 3 films, like there was Cyberdyne, and then like there's Skynet in general, like especially in the 3rd one, Skynet was a huge part of like the government. In this one, it's kind of like I think it's, I don't know if Miles is in this one. I think it's his son that's in it. I can't remember the son's name, Max or something, or Matt. I don't know, something like that. Matt Dyson or whatever. I think it's the son, Dyson, and the Dyson Bowl. Try it. New vacuum cleaner, the Dyson Bowl. Anyway, they go to Genisys, And Genisys is basically the new Skynet before he's Skynet. And it's kind of like this big corporation that's invented the T-1000s and stuff like that. And John Connor has started all of this. So Terminator, John Connor, got sent back in time and invented Genisys, which is Skynet. And he was sent into the future to basically make sure Skynet goes down without any halts or any faults, either one. So they get to the Genisys layer HQ, and there's this huge boss battle between Terminator John Connor and Arnold Terminator. And they're fighting, and if you ask me, the fight should have lasted all of 10 seconds because John Connor Terminator would have eviscerated the T-800 in like 10 seconds because this is like the newest model Terminator that can basically do anything it fucking wants. It would have destroyed this T-800 that's obsolete and also what at this point it's like 70 years old. So I'm pretty sure not 70. It's probably like 30 to 40 years old. But at this point, it would have just destroyed it. But there's this big boss battle because it has to be. It's Arnold. We got to give him his just due. He basically loses the fight and like gets half his torso ripped off and like thrown. But it conveniently lands in the experimental puddles of the liquid metal for the T-1000s that they're creating, and it lands in there. They blow up Genisys before Arnold dies. Oh wait, I'm sorry. He doesn't get thrown. He doesn't get ripped in half. He gets ripped in half. I totally messed it up. I'm so sorry. I'm still trying to remember everything. They have this boss battle, and basically they're in this like time warp thing. They find another like time machine, and they're in the time machine. They start the time machine, and the only way Arnold can defeat it, and he explained it in 1984 to Sarah why he can't time travel is because they'll just be destroyed. I think it was their. I can't remember exactly what they explained because everything was explained so quickly. I can't remember everything. Anyway, they're in this time machine and it'll destroy them if they're in it. So they're like battling in the time machine, and the Terminator Arnold has John Connor by like the stem, like his root, his root. Whoa, not that root. Basically has him by the stem of his spine. And he's got like his hand through him, and he's holding him in there, and he's like, "Just do it now. You have to destroy it." So they like hit the time machine. It starts, and it's just destroying both of them. And that's when Arnold gets chopped in half, and his torso gets thrown into the liquid metal, and John Connor Terminator is eviscerated, destroyed. They lock themselves. Kyle and Sarah Connor lock themselves in this like vault thing. It's like convenient vault dungeon, whatever you want to call it, a big vault, and they lock themselves in there. And this huge explosion goes off, and it destroys Skynet before it has a chance to even go off or begin. So they destroy Skynet, they destroy Terminator, John Connor, and they're kind of talking to each other, and they're like, "We can never be together because." If we have John, like he's going to turn into this thing. But what I'm thinking in my head is, well, if Skynet doesn't exist and you live in a world without Skynet, you can still be in love and have John and just not raise him because basically that John was raised with no father. He was raised with a mother that went nuts, and he was an orphan basically most of his life, and she died of cancer by the third movie. So the new John would have a totally different life. He would never want to be, he would never get turned into an evil Terminator. So that logic didn't really make sense to me. I kind of checked out when they started talking about that. Like, we can never be together, but I love you. It's just, I think that was more so for the sake of the love story. But they're like, how are we going to get out of this thing? And they're like, because they can't get out. And she's like, oh, we're going to run out of air. And then all of a sudden you see these two T-1000 spikes go through the door and it like rips the door off. And for a second, I'm like, oh shit, they're dead. And then it's Arnold. And you're kind of like, I'm kind of like, wait, what? How? What the fuck? Now, I'm no genius, and I don't claim to be a genius, but I'm like, what the hell? And Arnold goes, they're like, how are you still alive? And he's like, I got upgraded. And I'm like, how the fuck did he get upgraded? So the T-1000 gel formula thing kind of turned him into a T-1000? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, so that was something that was just didn't make sense. It's a shame that we never got explained who sent the Pops Arnold back to save Sarah Connor. It's a shame you didn't know that. But there might be another movie coming out, so who knows? I don't know what the hell that movie's going to be about because there's no Skynet. I don't know. Maybe they get sent back in time again. Who knows? But overall, I thought the movie was a solid 8 out of 10. It's not worth going to see it 3D. I wouldn't pay 3D prices. But I would definitely pay standard price, and thought it was a decent movie. I don't think it's worth the bad reviews that it's getting. So, with that being said, guys, I'm going to shut the hell up. I'm going to go eat dinner because I'm hungry. I hope you guys enjoyed this 2-part review because, sorry, my computer crashed before, but I did pick up a couple figures this week. So I'll be posting that. I might probably definitely be doing a sit-down Saturday. So if you want to tune into that, do that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you want to do a Q&A about this review, I will answer any questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.